Right, chat, lock in. How every infamous dictator died by the scribble scholar. Lock the fuck in.
Through the streets of Berlin in late April
Oh, who
19.
was that? Lock in.
Adolf Hitler.
There it is.
When Soviet tanks rumbled through the streets of Berlin in late April 1945, Adolf Hitler knew his empire had crumbled. The man who once commanded millions was now trapped underground like a rat. Hitler spent his final
He was
days
a
in a
rat. He was a rat.
concrete bunker beneath the Reich Chancellery, surrounded by a shrinking circle of loyalists who watched their Führer deteriorate before their eyes. On April 29th,
Hated folk just because people were different. He was a rat. He was a rat.
he married his longtime companion Eva Braun in a bizarre midnight ceremony. The next day, April 30th, 1945, Hitler said his final goodbyes. Around 3:30 in the afternoon, he and Eva retreated to their private quarters. What happened next was confirmed by those who found them. Hitler had bitten into a cyanide capsule and shot himself in the head simultaneously.
What does cyanide capsules do? I need to know. Is that just does that just kind of hang you and you just? But then why would he shoot himself after? I didn't get it.
Eva died beside him, having only consumed the poison. Their
Okay, so it is cyanide capsule is poison, and she's just took that, and that's it. Well, he's took that and shot himself.
bodies were carried up the bunker stairs, doused with gasoline in the Reich Chancellery garden, and set ablaze while Soviet artillery boomed in the distance. The man who'd sent millions to their deaths in camps and battlefields chose to escape judgment by his own hand, leaving nothing but charred remains and a legacy of horror.
That's why he's a scumbag. He is a scumbag. He didn't get what he deserved.
56 years old. News of Hitler's death spread across the world, marking the end of the European theater of World War II, and spawning decades of conspiracy theories about whether he really died or somehow escaped.
I reckon he did die. I reckon he did die. I would have no reason to lie about that other than Hitler was starting to be a pussy and he's just like, I don't want to fight anymore. Fake my death. I don't think he would do that though. I reckon his ego was too big. And yeah, I reckon he did die back then, to be honest with you. I mean, we'd surely find him. We'd fucking surely find him.
Benito Mussolini spent his final hours running. The Italian dictator who'd once strutted on balconies preaching about a new Roman Empire was
I don't really know who this guy is, to be honest with you.
now disguised in a German military coat, trying to flee to Switzerland. On April 27, 1945, communist partisans stopped a German convoy at a checkpoint near Lake Como. Among the soldiers, they found Il Duce himself, the great fascist leader, hiding like a common criminal. Mussolini and his mistress, Clara Petacci, were pulled from the convoy and held overnight. The next day, April 28th, a partisan leader named Walter Audisio arrived with orders to execute them.
What did this guy do? What did this guy? He was a dictator for Italy.
Accounts vary on the exact details, but what's certain is this. Mussolini and Petacci were taken to a villa gate in the small village of Giulino di Mezzegra and shot with a submachine gun. The partisans loaded the bodies into a van and drove them to Milan, to a place called Piazzale Loreto.
Oh.
This wasn't random. Months earlier, Mussolini's regime had executed 15 partisans and left their bodies on display at that exact location.
Just 15 random soldiers.
Now it was his turn. When the truck arrived at dawn on April 29th.
Oh, so they're doing vice versa. They're doing the fucking what he done to them, they're doing for him.
Mussolini, Petacci, and several other executed fascist officials were dumped on the ground. A crowd gathered quickly, and
they beat the living shit out of them,
Things got ugly fast. People kicked the corpses, spat on them, fired at them.
Spat on them? Shot them?
One
fucking
woman
hell.
reportedly fired 5 more times into Mussolini's body.
Who gives these people these guns? Why is just a gun just a normal thing back then?
Once for each of
some random fucking mums got a gun.
Her dead sons. Then came the finale. The bodies were hung up.
No, disagree with. Okay, that's just fucking. That's actually fucked. No, that's like an actually fucked fool. That's beyond fucked fool. Is that allowed to be shown? Genuinely, might not be. But that's fucked. Yo, that's actually
down from the roof of a gas station. The crowd went wild, jeering and celebrating beneath the corpses. News of Mussolini's brutal death flashed across the world, signaling the definitive collapse of fascist Italy and marking a symbolic turning point in the final unraveling of World War II. Kim Jong-il.
Kim Jong-il? Who's that?
Kim Jong-il ruled North Korea for 17 years with an iron grip, maintaining one of the most isolated and oppressive regimes on Earth. He cultivated
I think it pretty much still is. I'm going to be quiet.
Personality cult, so extreme that state propaganda claimed he could control the weather and didn't need to use the bathroom. But in December 2011, the man who'd been portrayed
this was up to that long ago
as nearly superhuman died from something decidedly human, a heart attack. On December 17th, 2000.
I'm not gonna say anything. I'm probably gonna get bombed if I do.
2011. Kim Jong-il was traveling by train through North Korea when he suffered a massive
They have the fucking massive fucking military train that goes through there. I'm sure they do. It's like the
heart
massive
attack,
thing.
reportedly brought on by
Oh,
physical
that's
and mental
America.
stress. He was 69 years old. North Korean
Nice.
state media didn't announce his death until 2 days later, on December 19th, claiming he died at 8:30 a.m. on his train while on a field guidance tour. The announcement described him passing during a great mental and physical strain while dedicating himself to the nation. Official
They're bullshitting at their ass.
reports said he'd been suffering from diabetes and heart disease for years, though the regime had hidden this from the public. When the news finally broke,
Yeah,
North
'cause
Korean television showed anchor Ri Chun-hee dressed in black, weeping as she announced the dear leader's passing. State media broadcast footage
imagine being that last. You'd actually have to be fucking shitting yourself. Like, no, like, imagine being that last, right? Whoever that.
of citizens
But Kim
collapsing in
Jong
theatrical
thingy.
grief, wailing in the streets and bowing before his portraits. Whether the grief was genuine or performed out of fear,
It's
the
fucked.
spectacle was surreal.
In that country,
Kim
it's fucked.
Jong-il's body was embalmed and placed on display in a glass coffin at the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun in Pyongyang, lying in state alongside his father Kim Il-sung. Unlike many
Don't know.
dictators who met violent ends, Kim Jong-il died of natural causes, never facing justice for the starvation, imprisonment, and execution of countless North Koreans. He passed
what
power
I mean.
seamlessly to his son, Kim Jong-un, ensuring the
Kim
dynasty
Jong-un.
continued. Joseph
And it's now. I'm not even just saying, man. The country's not even fucking.
Stalin.
It's just so bad.
Joseph Stalin ruled through terror for nearly 3 decades.
What did
but in the
Stalin
end,
do?
that
Was he
same
the hingy of the
terror
Soviets?
might have killed him. On the night of March 1st,
I'm
1953,
sure he was.
Stalin hosted one of his infamous late-night dinners at his dacha near Moscow.
Yeah, I'm gonna presume he was Soviets.
Spotlight shine bright all on me. Got the internet time like who is
He drank heavily with his inner circle of Soviet officials,
Yep,
the
that's it.
same men who lived in constant fear of purges and midnight arrests. Around 4 a.m.,
Constant fear of him.
Stalin dismissed everyone and retired to his private quarters. Then something happened. Hours passed. Stalin always summoned his guards and staff by mid-morning, but March 2nd came and went with silence from his room. Here's where it gets darkest. His guards and household staff knew something was wrong, but they were absolutely terrified to enter without being called.
That's what I mean.
Stalin had cultivated such a climate of fear that his own
For all we know, that guy could be beating his meat for 3 days.
people were too scared to check if he was alive. By the time someone finally worked up the courage to peek inside that evening, they found the 74-year-old dictator lying on the floor in a puddle of his own urine, partially paralyzed from a massive stroke. He'd
Oh, so he fucked himself over with a drink.
been there for nearly 12 hours.
Never
Medical
mind.
help was summoned, but the delay had done its damage. Stalin lingered for days, unable to speak, his face contorted, slowly dying while doctors
Ah, so he was fucked. He had a stroke and he was fucked by from
tried
get-go.
desperately to save him. Some historians believe his guards delayed on purpose. Others think his own officials might have poisoned him or withheld help intentionally.
The fucker was 74 years old, back in the 1940s, drinking, getting slammed at drunk with enough stress to fucking run one of the biggest countries and the biggest unions in the world. As soon as one thing in his body is going to go wrong, everything's going to come crashing down. He's had a stroke. One thing probably in his body is when the amount of stress and shit he's under. He's going to get fucked.
On March 5th,
As soon as one thing goes, the rest of it's going to come down with it.
1953, at 9:50 p.m., Stalin finally died. The announcement triggered mass public mourning across the Soviet Union, but privately,
That's a lie. Nobody mourned.
many breathed sighs of relief as his reign came to an end. Rafael Trujillo.
Who's this?
Rafael Trujillo ruled the Dominican Republic like his personal kingdom for 31 brutal years, ordering assassinations, tortures, and disappearances with casual cruelty. But on the night of May
scumbag.
30th, 1961, the hunter became the hunted. Trujillo was being driven on a highway outside Santo Domingo when several cars suddenly blocked his route. A group of Dominican conspirators, many of them military officers who'd once served under him, emerged with weapons. They'd been planning
And
this
just
for
killed him.
months, with quiet support from the CIA, who wanted Trujillo gone. The 69-year-old dictator's car was riddled with bullets. Some accounts say Trujillo tried to fight back, pulling out his own pistol and firing at his attackers before being shot
He was like, what was it again he said there? 69. That fucker's not doing jack shit.
multiple times. Within minutes, El Jefe, the chief, was dead on the side of the road, his
Yes.
body torn apart by gunfire. The conspirators loaded his corpse into one of their cars and drove away, unsure what to do next. Trujillo's body
Dump it in a
ended up
river.
stored in the trunk of a car for hours while the assassins debated their next move. Eventually, his remains were recovered by loyalist forces. What followed was chaos. Some conspirators were caught and executed, others fled, and the country descended into political turmoil.
Freedom,
For a
freedom.
ruler so brutal, Trujillo's end was fittingly the same. Nicolae Ceausescu.
Who was this?
Nicolae and Elena Ceausescu spent Christmas Day 1989 facing a firing squad, and the whole thing was
Why?
captured on video after ruling Romania with an iron fist for over 2 decades.
Oh, Romanian.
The Ceausescus watched their power evaporate during the country's anti-communist revolution. On December 22nd, they attempted to flee Bucharest by helicopter as protests overwhelmed the capital. They were captured within hours. 3 days later,
What? But captured by who though? Captured by who captured them? Who was the people that captured them? Was it the same people that fucking the people that were doing the protests? Surely not.
on Christmas Day, they stood trial in a small room at a military base in Targovist. The trial was a rushed affair, lasting barely an hour, with charges of genocide and embezzlement among others. The elderly couple appeared confused
That's gonna get them fucking sentenced to death.
and defiant, with Elena
I swear Romania still does sentence to death, even now. No, I don't think it does it anymore.
repeatedly protesting that the proceedings were illegal. The verdict was never in doubt. Guilty, death sentence. Minutes
Not
after the
theirs.
trial concluded, Nicolae and Elena were led outside to a courtyard wall, soldiers lined up. The couple was given no chance to say goodbye or make final statements beyond their protests
Good though, they did kill about a fucking couple hundred folk.
during the trial. The firing squad opened fire, and both Ceausescus dropped dead almost instantly, their bodies riddled with over 100 bullets.
100 bullets, that's a bit excessive. That's a bit much.
The execution was filmed.
That was pushing it. That was not needed. 100 bullets. That's pushing it. Could we not have just done our winning 2 bullets, 1 for each, just straight to the head? Was it needed to put 100 bullets into them?
And that evening,
I feel that's
Romanian
unneeded.
television broadcast the news, along with footage proving they were dead. The footage spread internationally, shocking viewers who watched a longtime communist leader go from power to execution in just 3 days. Pol Pot, the
I know like 3 of these people.
architect of Cambodia's genocide that killed up to 2 million people,
What?
died
Kill him. Get him dead.
quietly in a jungle hut in 1998. After the Khmer
This was even that long
Rouge
ago.
regime fell in 1979, Pol Pot fled into the jungle near the Thai border where he lived as a fugitive for nearly 2 decades. By 1998, he was 73 years old, under house arrest by a splinter faction of his own former movement. On April
House arrest. He killed 2 million people. House arrest.
15th,
Are we fucking serious?
1998, Pol Pot died in his sleep, reportedly from heart failure. The timing was suspicious. Just days earlier, remaining Khmer Rouge leaders had agreed to hand him over for an international war crimes trial. Instead, he escaped justice by dying in a bamboo hut. The
By the fucking skin of his teeth.
Khmer Rouge,
Ugh.
knowing how skeptical the world would be, did something macabre. They displayed Pol Pot's corpse to journalists, inviting them to photograph the body to prove he was really dead. Images of his lifeless body appeared in newspapers
That's the real fucking photo. Holy shit.
globally. There would be no trial, no accountability, no chance for victims to face him in court. The butcher of Cambodia had literally died in his sleep and avoided answering for millions of deaths. His body was cremated on a makeshift pyre of tires and
I think it shouldn't have been fucking cremated. I think they should have just let it rot.
trash.
To be honest
A
with you.
pathetic end for a man who'd orchestrated industrial-scale murder.
So I mean, how the
Saddam
by the fucking skin of his teeth and all. Yeah, I know this
Saddam
guy.
Hussein's execution on December 30th, 2006, was supposed to be a solemn, controlled event. It wasn't. After the US-led invasion of Iraq and a lengthy trial for crimes against humanity, Saddam was sentenced to death by hanging. At dawn on that December morning, the 69-year-old former dictator was led into an execution chamber at an Iraqi military base in Baghdad. Official protocol was supposed to keep things dignified, but someone in the room had a cell phone. As Saddam stood on the gallows with a noose around his neck, guards began taunting him, shouting sectarian insults. Saddam responded with defiance, reciting prayers until the trapdoor opened.
Yo, what is this guy talking? I thought. Who was it that got killed? Like, they got like pretty much swatted in Afghanistan. Who was that again? Was it not for 9/11?
And he
I can't
dropped.
remember.
The whole thing was captured on a grainy cell phone video that leaked online almost immediately. Saddam, dressed in a black coat, remained composed even as the insults flew.
Yo, I'm sorry, chat. This is really starting to annoy me.
When the floor gave way beneath him, it was over quickly. His body was later returned to his family and buried in his hometown of Tikrit. The execution sparked massive controversy. Some viewed it as justice served. Others condemned the disrespectful treatment of a man facing death, regardless of his crimes. Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi ruled Libya for 42 years with a bizarre mix of brutality and eccentricity. On October 20th, 2011, he died begging for mercy
Again,
on
I don't know
drainage
who this
pipe,
is.
and the whole thing was filmed on cell phones. During Libya's civil war, Gaddafi fled Tripoli as rebel forces closed in. He made it to his hometown of Sirte, where he held out for weeks before NATO
What country was
airstrikes
this?
destroyed his convoy.
Ah, okay, there
Gaddafi
it goes.
escaped the wreckage and hid in a concrete drainage pipe with a few remaining bodyguards. When rebels found him, they dragged the 69-year-old dictator out into the open. Multiple cell phone videos captured what happened next.
What
A
was
bloody,
it?
disoriented Gaddafi, his face swollen
Oh, so they just fucking beat his ass. They generally just fucking laid into him.
and his clothes torn,
Holy shit.
being manhandled by jubilant fighters. In one video, he's heard pleading, asking what he did wrong. Rebels shouted victoriously, some struck him, and chaos reigned. What exactly happened in those final minutes remains disputed, but Gaddafi was shot, reportedly in the head, and died shortly after his capture. His body was later displayed in Misrata, where locals lined up to see the corpse of their former dictator, lying in a commercial freezer. The phrase,
Yo, gang. What?
"caught like a rat in a drain," became headlines.
Psychologists have discovered
Caught like a rat in a drain. What a fucking
that
headline.
procrastination isn't caused by laziness or lack of motivation.
His body was eventually buried in an unmarked grave in the desert, location undisclosed. Augusto
I'll find it.
Pinochet. Augusto Pinochet
Don't know who
ruled
that is.
Chile for 17 years after
just the
seizing
Soviets
power
now.
in a bloody 1973 coup that overthrew the democratically elected government of Salvador Allende. During his dictatorship, thousands of Chileans were tortured, killed, or disappeared.
Why?
But unlike many dictators, Pinochet didn't die violently or in exile. He died in a hospital bed, old and comfortable, never fully answering for his crimes. By 2006,
Why?
the
How? Well, how, sorry?
91-year-old former dictator had been battling health problems for years. He'd suffered multiple heart attacks and strokes, and his body was finally giving out. On December 3rd,
So he died of old age? Are you serious?
2006, Pinochet suffered a massive heart attack and was rushed to Santiago's military hospital. Doctors performed emergency surgery, but complications set in quickly. Over the next week, his condition deteriorated. He suffered additional heart attacks and developed pulmonary edema, his lungs filling with fluid. On December 10th, 2006,
So he just
exactly
died of
1
old
week
age?
after his initial heart attack.
Well, he didn't die of old age, but you get what I mean. At that age, you're going to get stuff like that. And no, he didn't die of old age, though. He died in fucking health problems.
International Human Rights Day, Augusto Pinochet died surrounded by family members.
That is some fucking fitting day to die on as well. A National Human Rights Day. He's a guy who tortured 1,000 people.
He was 91 years old. When news of his death reached the streets of Santiago, the reaction was split. Some Chileans celebrated, gathering in the streets to cheer and wave flags, relieved that the dictator was finally gone. Others mourned, viewing him as the
Why?
man who'd saved Chile from communism and brought economic stability.
I don't know the full story of it.
Here's what made
So-
Pinochet's death particularly frustrating for those seeking justice. He'd spent his final years fighting extradition and prosecution. He'd been arrested in London in 1998 on Spanish warrants for human rights violations, but
Yeah,
was
makes
eventually
sense.
released on medical grounds and returned to Chile.
Oh,
Back
fuck
home,
off.
he faced multiple indictments for human rights abuses, tax evasion, and embezzlement, but his lawyers repeatedly argued he was too sick and senile to stand trial. The cases dragged on for years.
Oh, so he just kind of fucking, he just kept slipping through.
And Pinochet never spent a day in prison for the atrocities committed under his rule. His funeral was a private military affair, and he was cremated shortly after. Pinochet's ashes were divided among family members, with some reportedly scattered in the ocean. If you enjoyed this video,
I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna find them. I'm gonna get them. Imagine. Nah, I don't think that guy got what he deserved, to be totally
subscribe
honest
for
with
similar
you.
ones, and feel free to drop
That's just my honest opinion. Anyways, W video.